Okay.
Can you delete that? Okay. Well, on that note, raise your hand if you've ever been severely dehydrated. I know we have a lot of athletes. Oh wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, has anybody ever had an anxiety attack? No? Okay. Well, what about insomnia? You have? It sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, has anybody ever had heart palpitations, seizures, or cardiac arrest? I should hope not. You're the oldest one in the class, so I'm looking at you.
No, I don't have heart attacks.
Okay. All of these are side effects that can happen to you when consuming energy drinks or just excessive amounts of caffeine when you mix them with alcohol or really anything else. Now we think, oh, these are like heart palpitations, that's something that old people get, but it can actually happen to people our age. Now, Red Bull has actually been banned in France, Denmark, and Norway. Germany is also considering a nationwide ban due to its link to some deaths and concern about the ingredient taurine, which I talked about in my informative speech if you were here. But basically what those countries have done is they told Red Bull that they had to take some of the ingredients out, kind of like what we did with the Four Loko, like how they had to remake the recipe and then they could start selling it again. So a lot of these countries now have Red Bull, it's just different from what we have in the United States. Now, I know most of you aren't daily consumers of energy drinks. I think my survey said there were 5 people. I know like you were one, and you, and I think Clayton was one of those people. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to look towards drinking energy drinks in the future. I know this class has a lot of freshmen, so as your schedules get busier and busier and your classes get harder, you might find the idea of energy in a can more appealing. Now, I'm going to give you some reasons to why you shouldn't go that route, and then I'm also going to give you some simple ways to get energy without caffeine. Now, the main concern you as a consumer should have with these energy drinks is that because they are a relatively new product, they only showed up in the United States in 1985, and then before that they were more like Gatorade. Their long-term effects on you haven't been studied. Now, I mean, we know the effects of caffeine. It's an addictive drug. And it's found in coffees and teas and even chocolate. And also some headache medicines have caffeine because they're really good for beating migraines. What we don't know is how it's affecting us when it's combined with excessive amounts of sugar, taurine, B12, and guarana, which are the common ingredients found in the energy drinks that we have on our market today. Now, also in my informative speech, I talked about how each of those ingredients, the B12 and the taurine, individually energize you. Now, a caffeine overdose, which is actually a real thing, alone can cause cardiac arrest. Now, what do you think happens when you mix all of those other ingredients together? All of the symptoms that I listed in the beginning of my speech, the anxiety attacks and the insomnia, are all serious conditions if not dealt with properly. Now, I want to talk about insomnia because I think this would be the symptom most likely to affect us as college students. I know a few of you said you had it before. I had insomnia for about 9 weeks my senior year of high school, and it was terrible. I looked so haggard. I was grouchy all the time, and you could just tell that something was wrong. Now, I found this really interesting. If you have 200 milligrams of caffeine, which would be about 2 cups of coffee, which isn't uncommon for somebody to drink, at 4 p.m. that day, you will still have 100 milligrams in your system. At 4 a.m., you will still have about 50 milligrams. And you're thinking, oh, why is this important? While you still may be able to go to sleep at night with 50 milligrams in your body, you're not going to have that really, really deep sleep that leaves you rested. Have you ever slept a long time, but you didn't sleep that well, and you wake up and you're just really, really tired still? Yes. That's because your body wasn't in the deep sleep that'll leave you feeling refreshed when you wake up. Now, as college students, this is really important because sleep deprivation is linked to weight gain, and nobody wants the freshman 15, and it's also linked to skipping classes and having bad grades, and we all kind of just want to avoid those things. Another concern of energy drinks is a matter of legality. The manufacturers that make these are not required to list if their ingredients, such as guarana, all the plants, have been sprayed with toxic pesticides, or even if the water that they irrigate their plants with is contaminated or clean. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a little bit concerning because I know how the big corporations really like to manipulate us, and they like to cut costs any way they can to make money off of us. So next, let's talk about taurine, which is one of the ingredients in the Red Bull. Red Bull, by the way, is the best-selling energy drink out there, so you're more likely to find people drinking Red Bull than any of the others. Taurine is a natural sulfonic acid which is found in your body, but at maximum with quantities of 400 milligrams. And that's a person that eats like a lot of like beef and like chicken and stuff like that. So if you eat a lot of meat, at maximum you're going to get 400 milligrams of this. Each of these 3 drinks has 1,000 milligrams of taurine. Now that actually more than doubles what's naturally found in our system. So if that number alone isn't staggering, I really don't know what is. And my last concern for our consumption of energy drinks is in regards to sugar. Now I told you in my informative speech that when your body has excess sugar, it stores it as fat, but also on top of that, sugar is really, really bad for your teeth. It contributes to rotting and cavities. And I know you've probably heard that before from your dentist, but I thought I'd just drive that point home. Alrighty, so now enough of the negative. I want to tell you some of the options that you have instead of looking towards energy drinks for that extra boost that I know a lot of us are looking for, because we do have like a non-total class. So a lot of these are really simple ideas and will actually leave you regularly feeling more energized, not just in the short periods of time that the energy drinks do. One really healthy solution is working out. And this is surprising because you think, if you go to the gym, you're going to leave tired and exhausted and you're just going to want to sleep. But actually working out is proven to give you a mental and physical boost. Also, one that you've probably heard before is eating breakfast. The key part to this, though, is to avoid lots of sugar, because eating sugar in the morning for your breakfast will leave you crashing around midday. So you always hear about that 2:30 feeling. That's because you had Cocoa Krispies and Pop-Tarts for breakfast, and then around 2:30 you have that sugar crash and you're feeling really tired. Another easy one is keeping hydrated. I know I see a lot of the people in this class drinking water. I know the swimmers have their huge water bottles. That's a really easy trick. Also taking vitamins, specifically ones with iron, because iron is really good for energy. And also vitamin B is important because it's used to convert the nutrients that you have in your food into energy. And vitamin B is found in yogurt. I know some people aren't really fond of taking vitamins, so yogurt's really cheap. You can grab it at the Mart. It's like 99 cents or something. Also, some snacks that are really good for a quick burst of energy are oranges. And we live in Florida, so there should be no excuse saying I had to get an energy drink because I couldn't find anything else. There are like millions of oranges just in the state, so that's unacceptable. And the vitamin C found in the oranges actually reduces fatigue, which I found to be interesting because in high school I ran track, and during the track meets our coaches would always be like giving out oranges and they would just tell us to eat them. They never told us why. I mean, I did it, but that's because they reduce fatigue, especially in your muscles. Also, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds are a really good energy snack that you can like grab and go. So those are, I think you can find pumpkin seeds in the Mart too, actually. Okay, so now I'm not telling you that in the future we're going to find out that energy drinks cause cancer or something, but I am saying that we live in a world with lots of chemicals and GMOs, which are like genetically modified organisms, so like that's like plants that have been sprayed with pesticides. So we really need to be careful with what we put into our bodies because we only have one and we really need to take care of it. And just like in the case of the Four Locos, I think that the more research that's done, we're going to realize what's safe to mix with what in the quantities that we can safely ingest. But until then, I think it's safest and healthiest to just avoid energy drinks in general. Alright, now raise your hand if you were one of the regular consumers. Charlie, you. Does anybody want these? It's a trick question.
Yes.
Really? You still want them? Okay, well I don't want to waste them, so you can have them. But I really don't recommend that you drink them. But yeah, you're welcome to have them. And I'm done, so you can stop recording.